Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Durham, your report reads like a defense of the Trump campaign and an attack on Hillary Clinton because that's exactly what it is.
Yes, that's Jerry Nadler. Took a break from eating hot dogs to attend a hearing on Capitol Hill today because Special Counsel John Durham is testifying in open session. And it is fairly interesting. We're early on in the process. But there it is. It reads like a defense of the Trump White House, the Trump campaign. Well, that's because everything you guys have been saying about it have been lies. Lies, all lies. Because you're a lying Sacagawea. You're a lying Sacagawea. That's the thing. Jerry Nadler. Did you see him at the congressional baseball game the other day? There was video of him. He's been battling weight issues, I think it would be fair to say. In fact, when the geologists determined recently that the island of Manhattan is sinking, the first recommendation they had was they should prohibit Jerry Nadler from entering the island, from setting foot on the island, because it could accelerate that process by millennia. And at the congressional baseball game, which I attended with my best girl, Jerry Nadler was caught on videotape grabbing hot dog after hot dog. And what was he doing? He was just ketchup, just slathering ketchup on them, and ketchup only, no mustard, no onions, no nothing. Just that in Chicago, you'd be thrown out of places for doing that. That's not what you're just ketchup only. And I got to say, when I was kind of amused. My best girl and I were talking about it again yesterday because I was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago for a WLS event, the great WLS radio station in Chicago, on which my humble radio broadcast is heard Monday through Friday, and had an event with great listeners at a wonderful country club, a golf club, and it was wonderful, and great Americans there. And when I was leaving the next morning to come back to Washington, D.C., I was in Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and I left the hotel real early, I think before 6 a.m., and got to the airport. And sure enough, there was a hot dog place in Chicago's O'Hare Airport with genuine Chicago hot dogs, Vienna hot dogs with poppy seed bun and stuff. So guess what I had for breakfast? That's what I had for breakfast. And I photographed it and sent the picture to my best girl just to let her know that I was eating a nutritious breakfast. I was having some good stuff. But you don't have just ketchup. Now, I do put ketchup on dogs, but along with mustard and the onions, and I don't do a lot of pickles and stuff. But that's it. In any event, I digress because Jerry Nadler is at the hearing today, and he is, he famously, of course, went on and on about the Trump campaign and Russian collusion. And now because he's a snake, because he's a reptilian, like so many of the Democrats on Capitol Hill. And he has won, of course, in the Senate, we've got Chuck Schumer, and he's the Lizard King, as everybody knows him. That's also his U.S. Capitol Police code name. He's the Lizard King. Lizard King is on the move. Lizard King is on the move. And Jerry Nadler, he's a reptilian as well. And he has been going around talking about collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. And then today he threw out all the terminology and started over with new terminology because he's a snake and, a member of Congress. There's a lot of that. So let me go to a couple of audio clips. And I've also got Hunter Biden update for you today on all the phony, he's just getting away with murder. And he pays a lower tax rate than the people that Joe Biden complains about when he goes around screaming and yelling and pounding the table with a machete and, saying, yeah, rich people are only paying 8% on their taxes. It was like, well, it's the tax code that you wrote over the course of the last 3/4 of a century, I think. Am I right about that? Since you've been in the Senate, and he started in the Senate, I was riding a tricycle, I think, when he started in the Senate. At best, a Schwinn Stingray. And and he's been writing the tax code ever since. Then he has the temerity, the audacity, the mendacity to come out and complain about the tax code when, honestly, you people, Democrats, were it not for double standards, they'd have no standards at all. Now, let's go. We've got a couple of sound bites from the Durham hearing let's go to, we've got John Durham, and then we've got a Jerry Nadler Q&A with John Durham that I want to share with you that just proves what an idiot this man is. And here is from the hearing on Capitol Hill today. The John Durham, the special counsel, who spent how many years? How many years? Was it 4 years? Looking into the abuses by the FBI and the Justice Department and all the lies that Congress told. And I've got a bunch of stuff for you on this, and I want to share it with you. Also, today is Mailbag Day, so I've got mailbag questions that I want to share with you as well. And we are, of course, at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. Yeah, and also coming up, the corrupt Biden family stuff and the media lying about everything, as always. Oh, Hunter didn't become a junkie until after his brother, Beau, died. Lie. The Trump-appointed prosecutor in Delaware. Lie. And the media loves that one. And we got Manu Raju at CNN going after Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy and just advancing the talking points of the Democrat Party, because that's what CNN does and that's what Manu Raju does, because they're Democrats. They're a Democrat organization, and he's a Democrat. And also the CNN, since we're talking about CNN, we've got a CNN update for you as well. That's very important, I think, because CNN is it's a journalistic organization, and I used to work there long ago. Here is the headline from Mediaite. Former CNN producer sentenced to 19 years in prison for coercing 9-year-old girl into sex acts. This actually just says 9-year-old. It doesn't say girl in the headline. But the Mediaite people have the story. Charlie Nash, it's a left-wing outlet, this Mediaite. Now former, because they let him go when he was arrested, former CNN producer John Griffin was sentenced to more than 19 years in prison on Tuesday after he pleaded guilty to coercing a minor into sexual activity. According to reports, Griffin, CNN journalist, was sentenced in Vermont to more than 19 years in prison. On Tuesday, he will also be subject to 15 years of supervision following his release. Griffin, who worked for CNN from 2013 until his arrest in December of 2021, pleaded guilty in December of 2022 to coercing a 9-year-old girl into sexual activity. Two further charges of enticing a minor were dropped as part of his plea deal. He must have Hunter Biden's lawyers. According to his indictment, Griffin, quote, utilized the messaging application Kik and Google Hangouts to try to persuade parents to allow him to train their daughters to be sexually submissive. Now, that's, not that he's creepy or anything. So since June of 2020, Griffin advised a mother of a 9-year-old and 13-year-old daughters, two daughters, 9 years old and 13 years old, and the mother's responsibility. He convinced her that the mother's responsibility was to see that the older daughter was, quote, trained properly, end quote. Griffin later transferred over $3,000 to the mother for a plane ticket for the mother and the 9-year-old daughter so they could fly from Nevada to Boston's Logan Airport. He probably went to Harvard. The mother and child flew to Boston July of 2020, where Griffin picked them up in his Tesla. I like that detail, in his Tesla, and drove them to his Ludlow house. At the house, the daughter was directed to engage in and did engage in unlawful sexual activity. At the time of his arrest, a CNN spokesperson said, anonymously apparently, we take the charges against Mr. Griffin incredibly seriously. We only learned of his arrest this afternoon and have suspended him pending investigation. Now, there's a lot of weird stuff going on at CNN sexually. Who's that English, that crazy English guy with the big mouth? And he got arrested in Central Park with a rubber buddy, a sexual aid in his boot, and a noose tied around his neck and around his genitals, and he was doing all kinds of drugs and had all kinds of weird sex stuff. And after that, they gave him his own show.
It was Richard Quest.
Yeah, Richard Quest. And he did these absurd reports and bounded around the moors and he spoke like this. And then they caught him being a sexual deviant. And that's when he got his own hour. That's when he got his own show. That's actually true. Yeah, so there's CNN. All right, now back to CNN because CNN. All right, let's go to John Durham from the hearing today, talking about what he learned. And he said, boy, what he's learned over the last few years been sobering.
Our findings were sobering. I can tell you, having spent 40 years plus as a federal prosecutor, they were particularly sobering to me. A number of my colleagues who spent decades in the FBI themselves, they were sobering.
Sobering. 40 years, and he was shocked, I say, to find there was gambling going on at Rick's and that there was corruption at the FBI and in the Justice Department. But they worked there, and, you know, there are a lot of honest people there. And then they find out that there are all these crooks inside the place. And John Durham talking about Hillary Clinton's opposition research, which J. Edgar Comey brought to the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court, and lied to them that it was legitimate U.S. intelligence. And John Penitentiary Face Brennan was in on this lie to the FISA court, too, to get, 4 warrants to spy on the Trump inner circle as though they were foreign agents when it was all a lie, all a great big lie. John Durham on the fake, phony Hillary Clinton opposition research that they dressed up as the Steele dossier.
Another aspect of our findings concern the FBI's failure to sufficiently scrutinize information it received or to apply the same standards to allegations it received about the Clinton and Trump campaigns. As our report details, the FBI was too willing to accept and use politically funded and uncorroborated opposition research, such as the Steele dossier. The FBI relied on the dossier and FISA applications, knowing that it was likely material originating from a political campaign, a political opponent. It did so even after the President of the United States, the FBI and CIA directors and others received briefings about intelligence suggesting that there was a Clinton campaign plan underway to stir up a scandal tying Trump to Russia.
To stir up a scandal tying Trump to Russia, and they did not apply the same scrutiny to the Hillary Clinton campaign. And the scrutiny, and that's a generous term in this context, that they did apply to the Trump campaign was based on lies, a fraud perpetrated by Hillary Clinton and her campaign, and participated in by J. Edgar Comey, the FBI director, and others inside the Justice Department and the FBI and the intelligence community, like Penitentiary Face Brennan, who you've got to keep in mind voted for the Communist Party candidate for the presidency of the United States, Gus Hall. Why would that be a problem? Just amazing. All right, let's go back to John Durham. He said that he's had conversations with FBI agents and that a great many FBI agents are not at all happy about or proud of what their agency has perpetrated here, the crimes they perpetrated against the American public and also against President Trump and his campaign.
I have had any number of FBI agents who I've worked with over the years, some of them are retired, some are still in place, who have come to me and apologized for the manner in which that investigation was undertaken. I take that seriously. These are good, hardworking, the majority of people in the FBI, decent human beings who swear under their oaths to abide by the law and the like.
Oath keepers. They kept their oath. Democrats hate anybody who call themselves an oath keeper. The oath keeper is a group of people that served in the military and in law enforcement that swore the oath and decided to uphold it. And, then you've been demonized by the Southern Poverty Law Center and people like that. I've got more for you. And wait till you hear Jerry Nadler just make a fool of himself. That's which is what he does. That's coming up as well. And Kash Patel on the subject, because there's a lot to talk about. Breaking news for all my fellow Americans. Biden's dangerous plan to force Americans into a digital dollar goes live in a matter of weeks. No matter what they tell you, it's not something that's going to help you or me or anybody else. If you don't take action today, it might be too late. The Federal Reserve will be deployed in phases, with the initial launch taking place July 1st of 2023, and that is coming right up, ladies and gentlemen. It's called Fed Now. And a whole lot of us Americans are going to be taken off guard by all of this. Everything that we've worked so hard for is at stake. But there is a way for all of us to legally opt out of the digital dollar before it's too late. Call my friends at American Alternative Assets, and they are great friends too, to get your free wealth protection guide. This guide will educate you on how you can protect yourself and your savings, your retirement from a failing dollar, a volatile stock market with gold and silver IRAs. Call them today at 888, the number 4, GOLD20. That's 888-4GOLD20, 888-446-5360. Don't let Biden and his goons force you to use the government's new digital dollar. Call 888, the number 4, GOLD20, 888-446-5360. Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Yeah, more from the Durham hearing and also updates on Hunter Biden getting away with murder. And what did Hunter Biden pay in taxes? What did he owe the IRS? And what does his father have to say about all this? Coming up. And it's Mailbag Day, 888-630-9625. Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store. I've got more great audio from the John Durham hearing on Capitol Hill, including Democrat Congressman Chicken Man. You know Chicken Man, Steve Cohen. He's the chicken man. He's the bucket of chicken guy in Congress. He's an embarrassment to the House of Representatives. He embarrassed himself again today, and John Durham, I think, is doing reasonably well. We'll share with you what we have thus far coming right up.
30 seconds.
Man, oh man. And we've got Hunter Biden update as well, because, you know, there's a lot to update on Hunter Biden. He's going to be fine. You know, if you're a Democrat, don't worry about him. The fix is in. I'm slipping my right index finger across the edge of my right nostril as the sign that everything's going to be Jake. A-OK. I've got... I want to share with you this also. 5 years ago today, the Democrat Party's child prophet of doom, the apocalyptic doomsday child prophet, Greta Thunberg, as they call her, she tweeted 5 years ago today, June 21st, 2018. She tweeted, "A top scientist is warning that climate change will wipe out all of humanity unless we stop using fossil fuels over the next 5 years."
How dare you?
That was 5 years ago today.
How dare you?
And all of humanity, all of humanity been wiped out? Have we, Jasmine? All of humanity been wiped out? No, she's checking herself. She's okay. She's all right. Jasmine, so Michael? All of humanity.
This is all wrong.
This is all wrong. Greta Thunberg on the Twitter 5 years ago today. All of humanity will be wiped out unless we stop using fossil fuels over the next 5 years. Well, 5 years have passed. We are 5 years later to the day. And the Associated Press did a fake fact check on this. where they attacked anybody that points it out. And they don't share the tweet that Greta von Thunberg, she's known as von Thunberg because 90% of her fun is below the waterline.
We will never forgive you.
I'm not looking for your forgiveness.
I don't want you to listen to me.
We've got a deal. Finally, we've got a deal. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so they 5 years, and once again, this keeps happening. I've noticed it happens again and again and again and again, and Greta von Thunberg should be on suicide watch, I think, because
my opinions on this doesn't matter.
Has she changed genders yet? Because I'm thinking she's a candidate. She's a candidate. All right, let's get back to the hearing. Just more lies, all lies, I say. And when you have children that you follow around like demented lemming, and you believe everything that the children say, then you are a nitwit.
You shouldn't take that from me. I'm just a teenager.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the John Durham hearing on Capitol Hill. Jerry Nadler, the famous hot dog eating congressman from New York, who is at the hearing, and he's on the committee, of course, and he said a bunch of ridiculous things, and he went on, and he said, and they're all angry, they're all crazy. You got this crazy left-wing idiot chicken man congressman, Steve Cohen, and we got him coming up too. But here's Jerry Nadler and special counsel John Durham.
Ms. Durham, your investigation cost more than $6.5 million, involved the work of dozens of FBI employees and federal prosecutors, some of whom resigned in protest, and took roughly 4 years to complete. Is that correct?
No.
It's not correct.
No, I mean, there were multiple parts of that.
Did it take 4 years to complete?
Correct.
Okay. The rest was wrong. The rest was a lot of BS that you're spreading around. You embarrassment to humanity. Did it take? Well, let's take it in its pieces. Did it take 4 years to complete? Yes. Is that? And it was a stupid question because he ended the question with, "Is that right?" And all of it was wrong, except for the fact that it took 4 years to complete. That part was right. What a maroon, honestly. Members of Congress, hey, Democrats, stop sending these morons to Washington. All right? Yeah, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jerry Nadler, and honestly.
What a maroon. What an ignoramus.
You got this idiot Congressman Steve Cohen, too, who is also an embarrassment. It was several years ago now. He brought a bucket of fried chicken, of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken. He brought a bucket of fried chicken into a committee hearing room. He thought he was trolling Attorney General William Barr at the time, and he became known at that moment as the Chicken Man. He's the Chicken Man of Congress, and he's an embarrassment. Just another embarrassment. And there are a lot of these Democrats that are an embarrassment to Congress. Occasionally a Republican comes along. That's an embarrassment to Congress, too. But the Democrats do a much better job of sending embarrassments to Congress. And here is the Chicken Man, Steve Cohen, at the hearing today, assailing ferociously and vociferously John Durham on this most ridiculous thing, going on and on about Paul Manafort. There was Russian collusion, because Paul Manafort met with a guy with a Russian name, and he showed him polling data, which is published in the newspaper every day and shared with people, polling data all day, every day, in every campaign season and in between campaign seasons in Washington. It's not like it's some top secret commodity, but this dimwit Democrat from Tennessee, Steve Cohen, thought he was going to town today in the Durham hearing on Capitol Hill.
Everybody's reputation who gets involved with Donald Trump is damaged. He's damaged goods. There's no good dealing with him because you will end up on the bottom of a pyre. I yield back the balance of my time.
Sure.
Can we presume the gentleman's undecided on how he feels about the former president?
Gentlemen, witness can respond.
Yeah, my concern about my reputation is with the people who I respect, and my family and my Lord. And I'm perfectly comfortable with my reputation with them, sir.
Well said. God bless you.
Some applause. Oh, that doesn't happen very often in congressional hearings. He goes, Steve Cohen, the chicken man, who's an embarrassment to everything that matters, was going, I don't know, Paul Manafort had polling data. This is what they hang their koofies on, these people, that Paul Manafort showed polling data to someone, and that proves Russian collusion between the Trump campaign and Putin.
Manafort. You remember Manafort, the crook that managed the campaign for nothing but got tons of money from different Russian people over the years?
Russian
that
people.
Y'all pardoned. Mr. Barr later helped him with the commutation or pardon, I think pardon.
Like Bill Clinton?
Manafort.
I know who Mr. Manafort is.
Yeah. He met with Kalimnik. And they discussed polling data.
Oh, no.
You don't know about that?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Polling data. Well, if that doesn't prove Russian collusion between the Trump campaign and Putin, I don't know what does, mister. Boy, that's pretty amazing stuff. Now, thoroughly embarrassing. But that, he's too dumb to even know that he's embarrassed himself. Hey, Tennessee, stop sending this dimwit to Washington. You embarrass yourselves. It's an awful, awful thing. Somebody run against him and win. He's he's Chicken Man. He's the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. I keep talking about it. I'm getting hungry. Because finger looking good. All right, Kash Patel he served on Capitol Hill on the Intelligence Committee. He was Chief of Staff, acting U.S. Secretary of Defense to the acting U.S. Secretary of Defense during the Trump administration. He worked at the National Security Council. He worked at the House of Representatives. He's had a bunch of very impressive jobs, a great resume. Kash Patel was on the radio this morning talking to my great friend Larry O'Connor on O'Connor and Company on WMAL, my mothership station in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And Kash Patel was asked by Larry O'Connor, well, what do you think John Durham should be asked when he appears in open session at the congressional hearing this afternoon, the House hearing this afternoon?
The one line of questioning they must take up is, why did you, John Durham, a special counsel, United States prosecutor, fail to subpoena James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Lisa Monaco, John Carlin, Chris Wray, Charles Dolan, Hillary Clinton, the Bill Priestap, the list goes on, the Orrs. Why did you not use compulsory service of process like the DOJ does and is mandated to do to investigate criminals and conspiracies? His answer is going to be, I think, earth-shakingly poor, and it's going to leave Americans so disheartened, and it's going to just do one thing: imbue the political system that has taken over our justice system and provide the left with a narrative saying, oh, look, Trump's special counsel couldn't even haul these witnesses in. They must have not done anything wrong.
They must have not done anything wrong. And, it's a government, it's a 4-year investigation, and you get to the bottom of a little. Now, look, the investigation did establish and put into black and white a number of the horrible, corrupt things that have occurred. But gosh, most of us would like to see an awful lot more, and especially after 4 years. But I don't think Durham is a terrible person. I think our government has just kind of a big, cumbersome bureaucracy that rarely gets the job done the way that we would like. And there's more because the hearing is ongoing as we speak. So I will share with you as we can. Now, today is also mailbag day, and I have mailbag questions that I'm going to get to in the next hour because I don't have enough time in this hour. Because I don't have enough time in this hour. But we've got a lot of other things to get to as well, including the Hunter Biden story. Let's go to soundbite number 1. Congressman James Comer is the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee who is trying to get to the bottom of the Biden family corruption and the millions and millions of dollars from Ukraine and Burisma and the owner of Burisma after Joe Biden had the chief prosecutor in Ukraine fired by the government there while he was investigating Burisma and while Burisma was paying millions of dollars to the Biden family. Nothing to see here. the FBI has been obstructing Congress, and that Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, should probably be in handcuffs and ankle shackles and marched in an orange jumpsuit up to Capitol Hill to answer some questions. James Comer talking about, and the news media keeps telling us, and the FBI keeps telling us, we've given them access to the document, a single document that had to be brought to the attention of our Congress by whistleblowers inside the FBI and the Justice Department. And how's that whole document thing working out from the FBI? James Comer.
Well, unfortunately, we saw a lot of redactions in these documents. I would estimate that 55 to 60% of the two documents were redacted, and it's just a complete waste of my time. It's another example of the FBI stalling, stonewalling, doing everything they can to obstruct the House Oversight Committee's credible investigation of Biden bribery.
Biden bribery. And again, I believe it's Article 2, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, dealing with impeachment. Treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. Bribery comes right after treason and before high crimes and misdemeanors when it comes to impeachable offenses. And we have an FBI that obstructs, that is slow rolling, foot dragging, redacting, engaging in all kinds of, let's call it, criminal activity to obstruct the Congress and protect a president where there's a great deal of evidence, bank records, the suspicious activity reports from the Treasury Department, more than 120 of those. And the FBI is, how many years does this stuff have to go on? It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? We may never know. Even William Barr, the former Attorney General twice, is shaking his head at what we're watching.
I think they should cooperate with Chairman Comer's investigation into, all the business dealings. And part of that investigation, I think, will be to look at the thoroughness of the department's investigation. I'd be interested to know.
William Barr, of course, no friend of President Trump at this point in time. And President Trump, no friend of his. That's for sure. And even he's like, hey, got to, And we've got more on the Biden Justice Department sweetheart deal coming up as well, because there are updates on that. Yesterday, of course, we learned, while we were live on the air, we learned about Hunter Biden's sweetheart deal and how they, the big government, the Biden bureaucracy is effectively letting them off the hook, right? We've got more for you on that. But I did want you to hear from James Comer about the redactions, the 55 to 60% redaction. This is the House Oversight Committee. They have security clearances, and at least one of these two documents he refers to is unclassified. So this is what you call a cover-up. It's cover-up by redaction. And the cover-up protects Joe Biden. This is the same team that crucified President Trump, and they're protecting President Biden. I think we've got a third world situation here. And John Durham says he can't even count the number of FBI agents that have come to him and apologized for the conduct of the FBI. Christopher Wray's just another crook. And I don't like saying that. I really don't. I grew up with nothing but respect for the FBI. And unfortunately, a small handful of corrupt Washingtonians have shattered that for me. Just amazing. You know that you can purify the air in your home and get healthy, clean, fresh-smelling air, eliminate odors, kill mold spores, mildew, bacteria, and viruses. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier uses Oxy technology. Oxy technology naturally sends out O3 molecules into the air, and O3 molecules seek out and destroy pollutants and smelly stuff in the air in your home. In your office, it doesn't mask or cover up bad odors and pollutants like a spray can. It eliminates them. It's called the Thunderstorm because it purifies the air in your home and provides you with pure, fresh air, just like after a thunderstorm. And right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection because you hang out with me. you're going to get 3 units for under $200. You can hold one in your hand just like this. They're only this big. That's a fraction of the cost, by the way, compared to other air purifiers that can go for more than $600 each. So you can put one in your basement, your bedroom, and your teenager's room. Any place you'd like to have clean, fresh air to breathe. With this special offer, you're getting 3 units for under $200. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in the discount code Chris to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris, and shipping is free. Yeah, so plenty more coming up. And in the next hour, the mailbag as well. Questions from you for me. And then I at least try to answer them. We're at 888-630-9625. It's still a lot more coming up today, and the Washington Post, more lies of omission and cleaning things up for the Biden family, and an update on that submarine that's beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Let's go to the telephones right now, and mailbag in the next hour. Let's go to Keith calling from Vienna, Virginia. Keith, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
I'm great. Great. What do you say?
Well, when Nadler was grilling Durham about, how many years the investigation took, he sort of said, yes, Senator, you're correct. It took 4 years. 1 year less than the Hunter Biden investigation.
Yeah, right. Which is still ongoing, by the way, Keith, according to the U.S. attorney in Delaware, who the news media keeps telling us is a Trump pick, and they're lying to us. And yesterday, he said that it is still ongoing. So we don't technically know for how long the Hunter Biden investigation will take or how long it will be ongoing, because it's not over yet, Keith. It's still ongoing. Now, we got the tax part of it, which is a slap on the wrist, and then the gun part of it, which is another slap on the wrist. And if you were a rapper, you'd go to prison for this. But if you're the president's son, it seems to work out a little better. Am I right, Keith? It's good to be the president's son.
Yeah, you're correct. How convenient. Still ongoing investigation, which means that they don't have to turn over information to the panels on the Senate or the House.
And nobody has to answer any questions because it's an ongoing investigation, and that's always the canned answer.